Let me call upon the moderator for this panel, Laura, the country manager for TGP International, Mr. Amin, the co-founder for Revly, Rasha, chief marketing officer for Sauce Capital, and Sandra, marketing director for Dunkin' UAE. Please, guys. And sorry, Bahij also joins them. Thank you.
Mike, I think, yeah, now it's working. Thank you, Sofian, for the introduction. It's such a pleasure being here today with such amazing panelists as we try to understand a bit more on how brands can navigate through the challenges that come when trying to optimizing the marketing budgets, especially looking at ad spends and discounts. I mean, at Revly, you're a service provider at the forefront of helping brands managing their aggregator platforms. What are the trends that you're currently seeing, and how do your clients go about, trying to optimize their marketing budgets?
Of course. So at Revly, we're working with more than 1,500 restaurants in the GCC, and we're seeing a lot of trends emerging in the market. The main ones are, first, there is a bigger alignment on the definition of marketing spend. What struck us at the beginning of Revly is that a lot of the brands did not account or take a discount as part of their marketing spend, although it can represent up to 30% of the revenue. And also, it's an important factor of the brand healthiness and the healthiness of the marketing spend. A second trend that we're also seeing in the market is that there is a big shift in marketing budgets from traditional media to the delivery platforms. And this is mainly due to one reason, the fact that you can measure success on this platform. You can measure impact on your revenue, on your new customer acquisition, on the market share that you're acquiring compared to your competitors, versus on traditional media where it was mainly fluffy metrics like followers and impressions. A third trend that we're seeing, and it's really a very nice one, is that the industry is becoming more mature and advanced when it comes to balancing the marketing spend between discounts and visibility campaigns, between short-term activations that takes from the brand equity to generate some sales versus long-term activations that really fosters and builds the brand equity and help them also build that connection with the end customer. So these are the main trends that we're seeing in the market, and honestly, this is a quite positive outlook.
Thank you. I mean, it's very insightful to see how Revly is helping those brands become more strategic in managing their discounts. Now turning to a hybrid model, Bahij at K-Crew, that was launched around 3 years ago. You guys operate more than 45 brands across UAE and Saudi. How do you go about allocating, your budgets between choosing the balance between discounts and then also ad spends?
So, good afternoon, everyone. So with more than 45 brands across 30 kitchens in Saudi and the UAE, what we usually do is we classify our brands into different buckets. So these buckets are broken into 3 based on the brand performance. We look at performance metrics, so we look at average daily sales, we look at contribution margins, we look at reviews and ratings. So we look at several metrics, including operational metrics, to define which bucket is the perfect bucket for these specific brands. So the first bucket is we classify it as the hero brand, and usually this hero brand takes 90% of these performances metrics that I mentioned earlier. And this brand qualifies not just for on-aggregator spending, but also off-aggregator spending. And by off-aggregator spending, I mean, pushing the visibility, be it online, be it through hybrid touch points. So the hybrid touch points, be it food trucks, kiosks, this brand is a hero brand, qualifies to go to another level of our investment. The other thing is what we also do, this brand also qualifies for a brick and mortar or physical store. The second bucket is the star brand. Sorry. The second bucket is a star brand. The star brand could qualify to become a hero brand, but yet it takes 70% of the performance matrices. And this specific bucket focuses as well on aggregator and off aggregator, yet is not entitled to a physical brick and mortar because it still needs a lot of investment. Now, the difference between the first and second, obviously the hero, we spend less on discounts. Discounts are not high. The second tier is basically we spend a little bit more. The third tier or the third classification is basically the recruit. So these brands serve a specific purpose within the company, which is kitchen optimization or station utilization. So our focus is purely on aggregator spending. That's a key focus.
And what are some of the pitfalls you look out for when?
So basically, major thing is the over allocation of budget.
Yeah.
Thankfully now, after we started using Revly a few months ago, we were able to control, because we're talking about more than 550 different VRs, virtual restaurants, that we're trying to control across different aggregators. So the allocation of budget and the allocation and controlling the marketing spend and the efficiencies on each and every VR or each and every brand in a specific location. The Revly as a dashboard helped us define what are the key metrics that we need to look at, when to switch on and off a specific campaign.
Thank you, Bahish. Talking about performance metrics and obviously how they heavily influence your marketing budget allocation. Sandra, how does Dunkin' go about, a global brand like Dunkin' go about this, and how do you approach the trade-offs that come between, advertising spend and discounts and having a healthy balance?
So at Dunkin', we try to avoid discounting as much as possible and rely instead on product innovation in our menu. And what we usually do is combine those products, those new products that we create with powerful campaigns to create a buzz and generate a peak of sales. So all through the year, we have more than 20 campaigns on our calendar where we introduce on every single campaign new products to our audience. You have product innovation related to certain occasions, such as Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Ramadan. Some of the campaigns and product innovations are related to seasonalities, such as the festive season. Others will be targeted to expand a certain category on our menu that we want to push. For example, our focus for the past few years is building on our coffee portfolio. So we have more than 8 product innovation and campaigns that are related to beverages in general, specifically also the iced beverage category. And of course, you have the breakfast category that we keep on extending as we go, and we have at least 1 or 2 product innovation per year that is combined with a powerful campaign. So regarding the media spend of those campaigns, so we really plan carefully our media spend, and it's very strategic. The way we choose our channels is extremely strategic. So first, we define our target audience. We choose channels that are relevant to them, and relevant to them and to our campaign's objectives as well. So when we have a certain product that we see that can thrive on delivery specifically, our campaign will be more focused on delivery. We would go for media spend on CPC, social media, influencers marketing, and could be emailers as well to drive people to our delivery channels. In other cases, where our product will be available in store and via delivery, and we see equal potential in selling this product across both, we launched 360 campaigns, where we combine offline and online media. Offline media such as in-store marketing, communication. We even go for activation booths across malls, in-mall media. We even utilize our loyalty program to complement our entire approach to push a certain product that is related to a campaign. Most importantly, we do monitor our campaigns and every single touch point in our campaign and every single channel that we use to assess the effectiveness of those channels that we're choosing. So we actually monitor the campaign during the campaign itself so that we optimize as we go. And by end of every campaign, we set the learnings and move forward with the learnings for our future campaigns. So to sum up, so combining powerful product innovation along with powerful campaigns and a very strategic way of using media can create magic. And actually, it created magic for us as a brand. And the beauty of this is that we didn't only see a peak during the campaign period. So even when we stop the ads, when we stop advertising a certain campaign, you would notice that for certain categories that are there on our menu, not LTOs, you would see that there will still be a growth in our sales when it's come to this category, despite the fact that we completely stopped the ads.
Interesting. So it seems to be much more driven by innovation and adding value. But then how about discounts? Is that then something that you disregard completely and you don't incorporate?
So focusing on product innovation and powerful campaigns does not mean that we do not offer discounts to our consumers. We do offer discounts to our consumers, but in a very strategic way. Given that going for heavy discounting comes with many risks, such as brand devaluation, cannibalization, loss in margins, and it won't be a sustainable approach at all. So, for example, we love surprising and delighting our customers from time to time with flash offers on delivery. What we do, we've launched in the past on several occasions campaigns that to activate one-time users and to drive trial. If we find that there are certain areas that are underperforming on delivery, we would run discounts in those areas. And in some cases, for example, if we have a new product that we want to launch or a certain product that we want to launch and we're not planning for a campaign for this product, we do run discount on this product. And sometimes we even give it away for free through our loyalty app with every purchase and so on in order to drive trial on the product. So it all depends on what our objective is. And so most importantly, when we run an offer, specifically on aggregators and in-store, we ensure to minimize the cannibalization to the maximum possible. So cannibalization is something that you definitely cannot avoid. However, you need to ensure that you have the right exposure, a proper exposure on your offer to attract new customers, not just whoever is gonna walk to your store, because at the end of the day, you don't wanna promote the discount to people who are anyway gonna buy from you. Hence, we always, whenever, let's say, in the cases where we run discounts with aggregators, we ensure we get the proper exposure from their end, whether it's through hero banners, whether it's through even regular banners, social media promotions, and in some cases even, we drive awareness through our channels through paid ads around this offer. So yeah, and again, most importantly here is to measure and monitor every single offer and to get learnings from it. So some of the offers, for example, might not, based on our objectives, might not generate revenue during the offer period, but you have to look at the long-term effect of those offers. And some would, depending on your objective, the objective might be to generate extra revenue. So it all depends on your objective. So we assess and optimize accordingly for the future.
Thank you, Sandra. So data analytics seems to be key here in order to decide what products should be and when also we do those discounts. You also mentioned the importance of selecting the right channels to reach your audience. Rasha, at Sauce Capital, how do you go about this in making sure you're actually selecting the channels that will speak to your audience?
First of all, thank you for the question, Laura. I think it's very important when looking at selecting your channels is really understanding what objectives you have actually set for yourself as a marketing team. And these objectives also have to tie into the overall business strategy. Sorry.
Mike, yes.
The overall business strategy. So what is the company actually trying to achieve? I have it, thank you. What is the company trying to achieve as a whole? And kind of working backwards to try to understand which channels are going to be the most effective for you to be able to reach that goal. Another thing to consider is similar to K-Crew, we are a multi-brand concept. So looking at the individual brands, understanding their position, understanding their target audience is going to be key in understanding which channels are going to work for those brands.
And how about the difference, like Dunkin', for example, is a very established brand. Do you see differences in new brands to the market on how they approach versus a more established brand?
I think that's a very important point because there are different life cycles of a brand. So a brand that already has been established for a while and has equity is going to have very different objectives and even a different advertising strategy to a one that has newly been launched in the market. So Sandra used a great example of how Dunkin' drives demand and sales through product innovation. And that's a great thing to do for a brand that already has equity, that already has a market to actually address, right? So people are excited when you launch a new item. People are interested in what you have to say, and they want to try something new from you. But if you're a brand that's really just starting out, launching new products and increasing your offering with no audience to actually look at might not be the ideal way to go about it. So perhaps focusing objectives and focusing on advertising channels that can really promote for you and promote awareness in the market is really going to be key here.
Yeah, I think that differentiation is definitely key in order to achieve success. I mean, you obviously at Revly, you work with different restaurant models and with brands that are actually at different stages of their life cycle. Have you noticed a shift in the way your clients adapt their strategies?
What I can tell you for sure is that the static way of doing marketing is dead. What used to work 2 or 3 years ago for both new or established brands is not working anymore. The competition has increased heavily, and also the market is becoming more innovative. What we're seeing our partners doing is a shift towards a more dynamic marketing or dynamic strategies. And this has been implemented through 3 main use cases as of now. The first one that we're seeing our partners doing is proactive strategies. Now partners are thinking about how can we acquire the right set of new customers that are not price sensitive, for example, but that would become a long-term customer and they would have a real lifetime value and they will build the connection. Once they have acquired them, how can we engage with them more often, make them try new items? So there are like a lot of new innovative strategies that are being implemented towards that goal. A second use case that we're seeing is dynamic visibility. Think of a dessert brand. You definitely want to be visible in the afternoon where you have a highest likelihood of converting the customers and they would be looking for you. So you want to really focus on that slot and improve your visibility there and focus your marketing efforts there. The third use case that we're also seeing as is very interesting one is dynamic discounting or dynamic pricing. We saw a lot of discussion about it in the US with Wendy's. What's interesting is that it's already implemented here in the GCC. We're seeing partners implementing, for example, meal-based incentives. Why do you need to give the same incentives during lunch like in the afternoon when you have more capacity? So you have all this dynamic approach that's emerging, and honestly, we're seeing quite tremendous return for these partners.
So definitely there seems to be challenges around managing those discounts, especially also when you look at the brand value and how you don't affect your brand value. Bahij, at K-Crew, did you face problems on relying too heavily on discounts, or what are the problems that a brand could face if you rely too heavily on that, especially looking at your brand value and then also your profit margin?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over-reliance on discount doesn't just impact brand perception. but it conditions customers to get used to this regular way of
Yeah.
giving away discounts. And that's why there's, like Amin was saying, there's something called dynamic discounts. So that's why what we need to do is we need to diversify our discounts, know when to give discounts, what time of day, what area, what location, which aggregator as well, because discounts vary from aggregator to aggregator. This is point number one. So it's hard to, if you take a brand and put it on a 50% discount, switching it off to 15 or 20%, you lose a lot of customers, because this customer is aware, this is how he behaves. He follows brands that are always on discounts. So what we usually do is basically, if you want to switch it back to a regular price, you lose the customer. So this is point number one. Point number two, obviously profit erosion. So it hits your margins. So that's another thing. And sometimes what we see is a lot of spillovers in terms of discounts and how we spend. So if you're spending discount here at a customer where for them it's like, you know, we're either, whether you're giving the discount or not, the customer is still eating from your place. So managing customers at 50, 40, 30 is a challenge. But the way we mitigate this is basically you want to attract customers beyond discounts. There's no running away from discounts, because on the aggregators, whether we like it or not, that's how you're getting the visibility. And the aggregators are charging you 2 and 3 and 5 dirhams just to be on a specific filter. So there's no running away from it, but it's about how you manage your discount. So this is one. Two, what we also have to think is outside the not just, I mean, on the aggregator, you need to think of LTOs, how can you improve your menu, come up with seasonal menu items so that you attract people to actually visit your menu and get a high conversion at the end of the day.
So it goes back a bit to the point that Sandra was saying about innovation. Even
Absolutely,
if you do the discounts,
absolutely.
how
Menu
to...
innovation, product innovation, brand innovation. And the other point is also driving traffic to the other hybrid touch points that we've got, be it the food trucks, be it the kiosks, be it your physical locations. This is another way. And obviously, you need to push through a loyalty program. But what tops it all, obviously, is if you have a good brand with high retention rate or high repeat customers, what's good is if you have the quality and consistency, I think this would help you avoid relying heavily on discounts.
Thank you, Bahij. How about if we look at over-reliance on advertising spend, Rasha? How do you go about that at Sauce Capital?
I think that's an interesting one because discounts tend to be more measurable, right? You can see immediate results and you can really track them very effectively. But with advertising, sometimes it can be a bit tricky because your objectives are more long-term. So perhaps you're focused on brand building, which makes it a little bit hard. So these are some of the challenges, I think, in terms of monitoring can be a bit challenging when it comes to advertising. But I think a good way to actually mitigate that is actually understanding what the goal is, like what is your intention with actual advertising. So if your goal is actually conversions and you're running social media campaigns and you're tracking vanity metrics such as followers and likes, that really isn't going to cut it. It's not going to help you in meeting your objective. It's not going to guide you towards the right direction. If anything, it's going to take you a step back and take a huge chunk of your budget. And the same thing applies really when you're looking at aggregator marketing. Because I think there's been especially in the industry in previous years, it's been a very big challenge to actually get that data set from delivery platforms. How's my brand performing? How are the ads performing? How can I better optimize? And these are all things which are very valid questions, right? What is my return on ad spend? What is my return on investment? And also understanding the increase in perhaps conversion on ad spend when you're combining that with a discount, because that's not ideal, right? So it's really trying to dive deep into what your objectives are and trying to get that data. But I think overall in the recent years, especially with companies such as Revly, which have done a great job with that, you're really able to access that information on a deeper level. You're really able to get meaningful insights from the campaigns. You're able to optimize on a daily level, hourly level, your bidding strategies, and even the zones, particular zones that you want to be targeting.
It's all about the data.
Yeah, it's all about the data.
Yeah. Thank you, Rasha. As we are coming to an end, I would like now to open to questions from our audience. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you so much. Very good afternoon. I'm going to keep my questions short because I think everyone's running to lunch. My question is, so I'm researching on cloud kitchens, and a lot of them work remotely and they don't really have a dining restaurant. So they actually really heavily depend on discounting and throwing that ads to the customers. So in my research, I found that customers are really done receiving these, plethora of ads. They have so many ads thrown at them every time they open their phone, in the app, YouTube, every platform. So how would you receive this challenge? Customers are done receiving these notifications about discounts and things like that. But how would you tackle that?
Is it going to be Bahij or I?
Who do you want? Shall we both?
Yeah,
Okay.
please. Thank
Very
you.
good question. Thanks for asking it. So that's always been our nightmare. But what we've done at K-Crew is we looked at, you launch a brand, and we launch a brand based on, and when I say a brand, it's a virtual brand. We launch it based on a cuisine gap in that specific geographical area. So every kitchen has different types of cuisines. So once this is launched, what we look at the life cycle of that specific brand. How is it performing in terms of number of orders per day, in terms of operational metrics? Once we get to a specific, that's why I bucketed them into three. Once this specific brand qualifies and comes under any of these three buckets, we know what to do with it. So you've got brands with potential, doesn't necessarily mean these brands will never have a physical location, or will never have a food truck, or will never have a kiosk, or will never be a part of an activation. If a brand qualifies, we invest in it to promote it, and actually, eventually, if it becomes a hero brand, we would as well franchise that specific business. However, to answer the other part of your question is, there are specific brands that we create to serve a specific station or cuisine, or sorry, a kitchen optimization or station optimization. So you've got on every station, you've got 2 or 3, for example, hero brands. Under it, you've got a lot of just virtual brands we're using to actually acquire market share within that specific cuisine.
I'd like to also just add, and I think you're talking as well about as a customer being sick of actually seeing the ads go out in an inorganic way, right? So I think a great way to actually approach that is looking into your content strategy and trying to allow customers to consume information in a way that they actually enjoy. So perhaps doing trends on socials, or really communicating and adding the value that the customers are really looking at actually getting from you. But if you're just sticking the same advert in their face in an inorganic way, in a way which is too pushy, that can also really damage you as a brand. So definitely as a cloud kitchen, you need to somehow create that identity through the different touch points in a way that actually makes the customer understand who you are as a brand and your position.
Thank you, Rasha. Our time is up, unfortunately. I would like to thank all our panelists for these insights, and also our audience. Feel free to ask any questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.